Hey guys, Okane here. I'm going to talk about trading using the Bollinger Band. So we're going to use just the Bollinger Band and some price action. We're going to actually look at which direction we are trading based on higher time frames, but we're only using the 1 minute chart. So I'm going to explain that shortly. So right now we're in the trade at the arrow. So you will see me placing arrows as we take a few trades here using the Bollinger Band, either when we get a bounce like here from the middle line, or if it drops or continues. So when I place an arrow, that means our entry, and then we're gonna do a 5 minute trade, so 4 or 5 minutes after our entry. So we're in the first trade there, as you can see, using this Bollinger Band. So it's just the 50 and with a 2 deviation, and it's applied to high. Okay, so the settings are period 50, shift 0, deviations 2, and apply to high, so the highest points of the candles. So as you can see, to the farthest left, price had a peak, had a top, and then you had a lower and a slightly lower top before the breakout there, and then price retraced on this 1 minute chart, retraced back to the middle line, which actually represents the breakout point. If you look to the left, now I don't even have a horizontal line drawn there, but in this case, if you would look at the 5 minute charts, which I will show you soon, you will see that there was a resistance there. Price was struggling for a bit, did not manage to break it, and then came the breakout, and this was the actual retracement. So I'm not just going in a call here because there was a Bollinger Band, the middle band of the Bollinger Band there, but it's because I knew from the 5 minute time frame that we had a breakout there. We had a breakout, price retraced back, and now I'm taking call in the direction of the trend. Because we had this breakout, we are taking a call with the trend. So we're gonna wait a few minutes and see how this works. So you don't have to wait and watch this for the 5 minutes, so we will fast forward. So here we are, guys. It's been about 5 candles, and the cross, as you can see, I placed a cross on the chart. That means that's the last candle. So that was our first trade there. So once again, what did we do? We looked at the 5 minute charts. We saw that price had been struggling to break up, and it actually did break up. Then it fell back down to the Bollinger Band, to the middle line of the Bollinger Band, and we can see a couple of candles closed above that middle line, and on the next one there, where the arrow is pointing, that's where I entered for about 5 minutes. So we're gonna wait for the next trade. Right now we can't do anything, so what I want to do is either a break, either if price comes back down again and breaks the middle line, or if price continues up to the upper line, and we will see. But so we have to wait and see what happens now. Is the candle going to break down or not? So let's wait and then fast forward. Okay guys, we're back, and as you can see, it looks like the bulls are actually weaker now. If you look at where our call option had ended before the cross, you can see that this high was not higher than the previous high. It didn't manage to climb, so it looks like the bulls are getting weaker. So it might happen that price breaks down the middle Bollinger Band, the middle line. So we're gonna have to see if it breaks down. So if it breaks down, we're gonna enter a trade. So I'm gonna place an arrow here, but we're not gonna enter just yet. So we're gonna have to wait just a little bit, see what happens to this candle. If it as soon as it closes, if it closes below this middle band, that's our go. That means we can enter for a 5-minute put option. So let's just wait a few seconds, see where this closes, and then we take a 5-minute put. So here we go. We can see that if we had entered there at the end of that candle, this one, as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 5 candles. It's pretty close, but this one is actually a loss. So we were unlucky there. It turned back up, all the way back up above the midsection of the Bollinger Band. But here, since this next candle also closed below the RSI, we see that the resistance is holding. So we entered for a new trade for a 5-minute. So here I fast forwarded, I cut the waiting part. And you can see, so the next one, the third trade actually worked. So what we did was to basically, when we lost that second trade there, we entered again when we saw that the red candle actually closed below the RSI. And as you can see, the price is trending down. You can see the last 3 peaks, like last 3 highs are lower and lower and lower. And then we entered on that candle when it closed in the middle of the Bollinger Band, but unfortunately it bounced back and it closed just a pip or so above our price. But then the next one, that red candle, actually closed below, so we got second entry there for another 5 minutes, which you can see. And here we are in the fourth trade. You can see my arrow now. So this is the fourth trade, which you can see is below the outer line of the Bollinger Band. So you can see that we could have actually entered a little bit earlier when the first red candle closed below. So I waited a little bit here. We could have entered there, but I waited, and we got this bounce back to the lower line of the Bollinger Band, and it held. That candle closed. It got pushed down, kind of like a pin bar, and so I entered there for another 5 minutes. But pay attention that in the meantime, I'm also watching the 5-minute time frame. I'm not showing it here right now, but I'm switching and looking, and I see that it's dropping. It broke back below the resistance, so I know that now the downtrend has started. So another 5 minutes. Let's wait and see how this turns out. Okay, and we are back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's the final candle there. So this one worked out. So the first one was a winner, second one lost, third one a winner, and the fourth one was a winner as well. So that's pretty good. So let's look at the 5-minute time frame here. You can see how price was trending up. You can see the breakout there, our first call option. Look at the arrow, look where it is. It's right above where price broke up, and then you can see when it failed and it continued down. So it touched the upper line of the Bollinger Band, the 5-minute time frame, and then on the 1 minute you could see that it also broke the middle line, which we traded here, as you can see. So, and right now you can see that this big fall, the last trade, is actually below the midsection of the 5-minute time frame and below the bottom line of the Bollinger Band here. So as you can see, we're using multiple time frames. We're looking at the main trend, what's happening. So it broke up, but the upper resistance held. And so basically we're just following the trend, but since we have an idea of what's going on in the higher time frames, we're going with the trend, and we're not just taking every bounce. So that's why we didn't do another call option there at the Bollinger Band at the midsection there, because we saw that the bulls were getting weaker. We're getting lower highs instead, and the previous resistance held, which you can see to the left. You can see the first peak there far back on the left. So that resistance actually did hold, and then price broke down in the midsection there, so coming back below the first resistance which it had broken from earlier. So it's just riding the trend down all the way. So once again, as you can see, after our final trade we got another bounce and price held. It kept itself below the lower part of the Bollinger Band, and we saw on the 5-minute charts that it was pretty much free falling from the midsection on the Bollinger Band on the 5-minute charts. So as you can see, I placed another arrow. That's the 5th trade, so another put option there. Is a little bit pushing it, but since again it was falling on the 5-minute, we could see that it was heading towards the lower Bollinger Band on the 5-minute charts. So we want to ride that trend down a little bit further. So once again, another 5-minute trade here. So we can see here 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1 more minute to go. We're currently in the money there, and that seems to be a little bit tight, but still this one was okay. So overall, it depends on your risk appetite. Using the 1-minute chart is a bit risky, but this way, when you look at the different time frames, it gets a little bit better. Of course, you can use this technique on higher time frames. So I'm gonna do another video taking trades, recording them live on higher time frames if you wish. So if you want to see that, please give a like and leave a comment below, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.